Don't panic if you've been asked to arrange foam free. Here's a few hints and tips to help you arrange without using any foam or wire netting. Welcome back to today's video. Now, I know everybody panics when they hear the word foam free. They don't really know where you can source wire netting, commonly known as chicken wire, from. And everybody's blood runs cold when they're asked to arrange in a foam-free manner. But when you think about it, we've been arranging in a foam-free style for many years. Any flowers that you put in a vase at home are going to be foam-free. Any flowers you arrange in a vase at home often don't require chicken wire. We just arrange in a suitably sized container with a wide opening neck if you've got lots of flowers, or a narrow necked vase if you've got a small quantity of flowers. So my first tip is going to be choose a vase that's suitably sized for your choice of flowers. And if you're arranging a simple vase of supermarket roses, then this vase is going to be too big. It's too deep to accommodate the shorter stems of the flowers, and it's too wide to accommodate the bunch. So pick a vase that's more suited to the size of flowers that you would normally buy. And my second tip is going to be, if you can, to have some greenery to give you a support network to hold your flowers into place. Now, you could use tip 3 and use a sellotape grid across the front of your vase or across the top of your vase. And if you want to know more about that, then let me know and I can do another video. But what you really need to think about is floral foam supports your flowers, it holds them into place. And if you're not using floral foam, what can you use instead of it to support your flowers? And if you're lucky enough to have foliage accessible to you, then that's going to give you like a cushioned effect to hold your flowers. And if you don't have floral foam and you don't want to use the wire netting, then think about putting just a grid across the top with some sellotape or some Oasis tape. If you have a smaller sized vase that isn't clear, like my glass vase, then you could curl some twisted willow or some contorted hazel inside to support your flowers. But for today, I'm just going to let the flowers speak for themselves. And if they want to flop over to the left, they can do so. I'm not going to worry about it. Now, tip number 4 is to avoid what I would refer to as flat foliages. This doesn't have any dimension to it. It's almost like a piece of paper, and it isn't going to give you that density and the volume that you need. You're better off picking greenery or flowers that has volume to it, thickness, density. It's 3-dimensional. It's not flat like a piece of paper. And to start off, I'm going to put some greenery in the base of my container to give me a support to hold my flowers into place. And I'm going to start with Acer. Now, here in the UK, this is quite a common foliage that you might have growing in your garden. It is a perfect colour link with my container, and it's going to work so well with my choices of flowers. And I'm just going to look to see which way it naturally falls. Now, it doesn't fall this way particularly well, but it does look really nice on that side of the container. I'm going to cut it a bit shorter, so I'm going to remove some of the Acer leaves from the bottom, and I'm going to give a nice clean cut to the stem. If it's a woody stem like the Acer, you might want to cut that vertically, and then you're going to get a quicker uptake of water. Don't crush, don't bash, don't hit anything with a hammer. A good clean cut on the bottom is going to work really well. And I'm just going to sit that in the vase where it naturally wants to fall. There's a bit of a kick on the stem, so I'm going to cut that a bit shorter, because what it's going to do is naturally turn forward. So we're going to go a bit shorter, and don't panic if it rolls and moves and twists. As we keep adding, it's going to stay much more secure. This piece would have worked quite nicely up at the back, but for a minute I'm going to lean it over towards the side. I might change that as the design comes together, but again, don't panic, don't worry, relax and enjoy the moment. We're not creating shapes, we're not looking for those perfect triangles, we're just enjoying the material that we've been able to get hold of. I'm not sure what tip we're on, but you need to remember to remove all of the greenery that's going to be sitting in the water. I would probably fill this higher with water. Normally I would have had more water in this, but I don't want to spill it while I'm filming. And you must remember to have a clean container and to have flower food added to help your flowers survive. And then I've got to work out which position this other piece of Vaser is going to sit in. Does it work better there, or does it work better here? I'm thinking it needs to be on that side because of the shape of the foliage. And what you will also find, and this is another little tip, if you're picking flowers from the garden, pick from both sides of the shrub. Otherwise, it's going to be all growing and facing in the same direction. Now, if we look inside the vase, there's almost that crisscross effect taking place, which is really a very simplified version of the spiral hand tie that we do in floristry. Let all your materials speak for themselves. It gives you movement and rhythm, and you don't get that really stiff and regimented design. Look at those. Aren't they just amazing? These have come from my garden. This is a rhododendron. The foliage is a little bit damaged, but you know, I'm going to leave it on. We're not going to worry too much about it. And this is a really woody stem. So I'm going to remove a little bit of the outside bark so the water can be taken up a lot quicker. Remember, anything you're using from the garden needs to be cut the day before and allowed to rest before you use it. Now that isn't going to sit where I wanted it to go because this branch at the bottom here is stopping me placing it into the vase. Now I know by the weight on these rhododendrons that if I let this go, there's a chance that they're going to tip forward and they're going to kick out all of the acer from in my vase. And that's because the flower is top heavy. So I'm going to have to cut it even shorter so that it balances in my vase. And if that happens, don't panic. We're just going to start again and place our greenery back in. The idea of this video is to get you to love arranging flowers and not to overthink it and not to panic. And if you're arranging for your local church and you've been asked to arrange in a foam-free style, then just think about investing in a couple of large vases or a couple of containers that are going to accommodate your flower stems. And then now I've taken off the weight of the two competing heads of the rhododendron, I can now place them back in on single stems, and it's going to give me a nice clustered design with all the heads grouped together. Now I love that grouped effect. Not everybody's going to like it, but you have to work again with the shape of the flower. It doesn't want to go in a different position. That's where it sits nicely in the vase. If I'm going to try and keep adding it into a different area that it doesn't want it to go, it's going to fall out and it's going to object and it's not going to like where you put it. Now this one is tamarisk. I'm probably going to not be seen in a minute from the back of this big design, but the natural angle of this one is to curve to my left hand side, and that's where I'm going to put it. So we're almost ending up with a bit of a sort of very informal crescent, very much like those very relaxed sort of period flower arrangements we would see in all those really fancy magazines. So I'm grouping the tamarisk together because it's going to give a nice dramatic effect on that one side. And because I've got that network of foliage in the middle, I've almost got like a grid effect that's going to support them. And then to give me a little extra added height, I'm going to go in with what I would call a weed. This is valerian. It's a garden foliage. Many of you might have it self-seeded in the garden. Those of you who are keen gardeners might be digging it out before it's sort of matured. But here in Wales, we get lots of the valerian, self-seeds in little nooks and crevices in the garden. And I think the colour on this is just superb. So not only am I adding flowers at the front and the side, but I'm adding flowers to the back as well, because that's going to give us some actual weight and it's going to help us stabilize the design. remember it's important to look how the shapes of the flowers are working. If they're angled nicely to the right, I can't find the vase, that's where we're going to put them in. If they're cascading nicely to the left, then we're going to put them in on that side as well. To fill in this area at the back, I've got some garden Weigelia. This one is just beautiful, but we've got all those lovely pinks and purples. And because I persevered at the very beginning with placing the material in at the base, look at the size on that one. I think that's way too big for today's design. Look at that, that's absolutely phenomenal. Now this is from my garden, and it's one plant that I leave to sort of do its own thing. I don't shape it because I really love how the way it naturally grows. So just to recap, make sure that anything that's below the water level has all its foliage removed. And I'm just going to work in some of the Weigelia towards the front of the arrangement. Now if we look at this one, this Weigelia here, it's slightly leaning forward in the arrangement. It almost gives the idea or the feel that it's going to fall forward and tip out. So I've moved that backwards, I've angled it backwards, and then hopefully I can get another piece just in front of it. So I need to remove the lower greenery, and then we can pop this into that position there. So grouping and massing the flowers by colour or variety is very fashionable at the moment. You're seeing it a huge amount in wedding floristry, and it can be used with modern flowers, arum lilies, anthuriums, all those tropical sort of flowers, but you can also use it with garden flowers as well. And we've got that really opulent sort of Georgian look that we often see in the movies and in TV series. Now so far everything that I've got in there is from the garden. This is a totally foam-free arrangement, and I would class this as fairly sustainable because all the materials have come from my garden. But I'm now going to introduce a peony, and this is an imported peony. So this is one that has come from the Dutch flower auction. So it makes this design less environmentally friendly because I've had to have flowers imported. In another maybe 3 weeks, I'm going to have some peonies in the garden, and I could have bought these from a local flower farm as well, but I had them for another job and I felt they were going to work really nicely in this arrangement. I'm thinking this one here is a little bit too long. It's not quite gelling in the arrangement, so I need to cut it a bit shorter. I've left some of the greenery on because I think greenery is important in a design because it gives your flowers a bit of character. But there are many of you that will strip all the greenery off because that's what you've been told to do. But I think a little bit of greenery really adds dimension, personality, and it stops the flowers all looking very uniform and controlled. And I'm thinking this one sitting in the front is going to counterbalance the visual heaviness of my rhododendron. I'm going to take a step back. I'm just going to walk back and have a look at how the design has come together because it always looks different on the camera. But before I do that, I'm just going to point out that a couple of these stems here are just about in the water. So it's important whenever you're arranging in water, whether it's with chicken wire or any other type of mechanic, you need to make sure that your water level is always topped up. Because it's all good and well arranging your flowers in this beautiful manner, but if they're not going to survive, it's a complete waste of time. So I've taken a little step back and I'm really happy with the overall shape, but I am going to add a little bit of height here. And I'm going to do that with 3 delphiniums. These are also imported delphiniums. And one of the really frustrating points about those people that are all on the sort of no foam bandwagon, they've all jumped on and said you shouldn't be using foam in floral designs, and I get it quite often in the comments, is that yes, it's good that we shouldn't be using floral foam and we should be looking for different mechanics and different options, but if you're importing flowers from halfway around the world, then the environmental impact and the damage that that is causing is just as bad as not as using the floral foam. So if you are moving away from using floral foam and you're going with more natural mechanics, then you really should be thinking about only using flowers that are locally sourced as well, because that makes you far more sustainable and environmentally friendly. And if you haven't noticed, I do quite often get on my soapbox when we're talking about floral foam. So I think that is absolutely gorgeous. And if you're not arranging in a foam-free environment and you just want to arrange flowers for the home, that is just stunning. And I'm sure anybody would be delighted with having that to admire at home. You could even do it as a gift for somebody. It's just a little bit more difficult to transport than flowers arranged in floral foam. So thank you as ever for joining. Let me know, do you like the foam-free designs or do you find it easier to arrange in floral foam? And how good are you doing at being environmentally friendly? And of course, subscribe to the channel because it really does help it grow. Hit that notification bell if you want to be told every time I upload a new video. Share it out to anybody that might be interested in arranging foam-free. And remember what I said in the beginning, don't panic when that dreaded word foam-free comes up. There are plenty of ways you can create something just as beautiful without using floral foam. So thanks for watching and I'll see you for the next tutorial very soon. Bye for now.